Legalization seems to be sweeping the nation, which is amazing, no doubt. However, with that happening, there is so many more stores opening up, which is making it so less and less people are growing their own. Now in this video, I'm going to go over some of the reasons why this may be, and also break down the numbers on exactly why you should be growing your own plants if you're not already, and why you should continue and not quit. Stay tuned.
Like we always do about this time.
If you're new here, my name is Rob and we talk all things herb. Today in particular, we're going to be going over some reasons why you should be growing your own plants if you're not, or if you're considering quitting.
That's dumb.
Now, it may be obvious to most of us because we love growing. We're enthusiasts and this is what we're into. But believe it or not, there's a lot of people who are not growing more and more and more. And you could see it based on grow stores closing nationwide. Companies that provide grow equipment slowly but surely closing down, and there being less and less available brands for you to pick from. Now, of course, there's a variety of reasons, but one of the largest reasons seems to be less demand. During the pandemic, there was way more demand for growing. Numbers skyrocketed because people had so much more time on their hands and they were able to grow because they had free checks coming in. Now, when you think about it, there's also more people consuming than ever. But when you also look at other things like legalization and mass amounts of shops opening up, it really takes away from that home grow, especially if you can get better prices when you're going there to the shops. Not everybody is as picky a consumer, and not everybody really cares to have as much weight. If you don't consume as heavy, then it's not going to be such a big issue. And I totally understand at that point growing not being something for you. Or let's say you have a physical ailment and you're not physically able to do it unless you have a caregiver doing it, and the medical programs seemingly are slowing down more and more and more. There's still tons of medical patients, that hasn't changed. If anything, that's growing more. But they have less resources than ever. So most times they're going to be just going to a shop. And in that case, I can't fault you. But there's way better options if you're able to grow at home. Now I'm going to break this down into 3 major categories with a bonus category at the end. Starting with cost, quality, and quantity. Now I myself am a very heavy consumer, so maybe my numbers don't add up for you, but do the math and break it down yourself. This is what my budget would look like if I wasn't growing. So on average, I'll go through about a Z a week, if not more, obviously, just depending on the flavor. If I really like it, I'm gonna be blasting through it. Now that can cost anywhere from 100 to 150. Monthly, this is anywhere from 400 to 600, and yearly, 4,800 to 7,200. Now this can add up depending on what you're after. If you're an extract person, it probably could be more than that. And depending on what state you're living in or country you're living in, the cost at the shops may be higher or lower, just totally depends. But for me, where I'm at, the prices aren't too bad, so I can see somebody who doesn't consume nearly what I do kind of opting for the other side. If you're someone who's more of an ounce a month, that's gonna work for you, obviously, to just go to the shop. Maybe you can save the money there. But there may be some other reasons, which we'll touch on soon, why you may want to reconsider. So then let's look at the home grower cost. You can make it easy on yourself and get something as simple as AC Infinity's cultivator kit. It's got everything you need all in one, including genetics and nutrients. It's pretty simple and plain for those of you who are trying to get started on somewhat of a budget. Now, AC Infinity isn't the low budget brand, so the cost isn't going to be some cheap Alibaba Express gig, but of course it's going to be something that's going to last you a long time and is backed with amazing customer service. And if you're looking to get any of their products, you can use discount code CLtv at checkout, save yourself a little bit of money, and it helps the channel as well. Now, if you go the route to get the cultivator kit from AC Infinity, your grand total is going to be $886 using the discount code CLtv. So it's got everything that you need from start to finish, literally including genetics, nutrients, everything in the grow tent, with the grow tent included, obviously. But if you're balling on a budget and you're struggling to get one of these, check out the link below and you could potentially win one for yourself as well, as long as you're in the United States. Unfortunately, this is US only, as they only have the cultivator kit there, so if you're in a different country, grabbing any of their gear is going to work for you, or any affordable gear that's nearby. Now, the reason I like grow tents better is because I'm able to keep everything in one space. I can use this for veg, flower, and I can even dry in the same space, or you can have separate tents for separate cycles. Now, if you're a grower and you've been doing this for a while, I'm preaching to the choir, of course, but the cost of getting one of these is a little bit more than just having an open space. Say, for example, I was just to put a grow light in here and I have my floor set up and I'm putting plants in. I get ducting set up so I'm able to have intake air and to be able to have exhaust and make everything set up in one space. This is a great option for a lot of people who don't have the budget for something like a grow tent. Now, that'll get you started for under $500, depending on what kind of light and obviously the setup that you're getting. Then you're looking at nutrients. Now, of course, nutrients is going to cost you something there. You're going to have to get yourself at least the base nutrients or run with something organic. This could be anywhere from $100 to $200 depending on how you get started, or closer to $50 if you're doing all organic. Now, if you're getting a blend that's already pre-done like Craft Blend or Kiss Organics, this will put you off a little bit more money compared to making a compost in the backyard and working that over time. There's a lot of natural things at home that you can use, and if you're not familiar with those things,
maybe let me know below in the comments and I'll work on a video to kind of go over some natural remedies for home growers to save some cash. Then you got to factor in things like your electricity and water consumption. Of course, that's going to increase your bill every month, but it's honestly not that bad. You're looking at anywhere from $50 to $100 increase per month, and you don't need to run your grow all year depending on how much you're looking to get, obviously. You could literally just go for the winter seasons and get enough to run you all the way through the year. But if you smoke like me, it's probably not going to be the case. You're going to have to make sure that you're harvesting every couple months, and that will keep your electricity bill, obviously steadily a little more than what it normally would be, but it's a lot less than what you'd be paying every month for consumption from a local store. Now, there's a lot of reasons why growing at home does have the costs that it do, but when you're using something like an LED light and you're using very efficient equipment, you oftentimes don't see that much of an increase on your electricity bill. Now, if you're running multiple tents, it may go up a little bit higher. Here I'm running 4 total. That's going to increase my bill, but I smoke that much that it honestly makes sense to have that much.
I mean, I smoke pot a lot sometimes.
Now, for other people, they may not, and that's an easier situation to just have a single space and you're able to dial your costs down a lot more. There's even different resale websites, and there's resale groups like AC Infinity has a garage sale group. There's all sorts of different websites like eBay or Amazon that have refurbished equipment and things that can really save you when you're trying to get into this. Just make sure that you have quality stuff and nothing that's low end and too cheap, because you'll oftentimes spend more money replacing items than just initially putting more money into a quality piece of equipment in the first place.
Now, obviously factoring the cost of genetics could be clones or it could be seeds, and this really depends on your source and where you are. And if you're looking for some beans, something that's going to be affordable for you, or clones if you're in the States, check out Seedsman. You can use discount code CLtv at checkout. Save some money for yourself, and also again helps the channel. If you're watching this in March, Seedsman has a crazy giveaway including 150 seeds, their new Seedsman branded grove bags, as well as their new nutrient line. Just visit watchcltv.com/beans1 to learn more. Now, there's a clear difference between the love and the passion oftentimes that you'll see of a one-on-one person with their plant. Now, no matter how you look at it, one-on-one connection with a plant, you're going to see more love, nurture, and energy put into it. And this isn't knocking on the commercial setting. I've worked in it for years, and it was just what it is. You're at a plant factory. You can only put so much time and energy into each individual plant unless you're in a craft grow. And in that case, you usually will see caregiver quality meds. It just depends on obviously where you're getting it from.
Now, the quality for homegrown is hands down better than commercial grows. It's just, there's more love and more time and more energy put into it. And of course, there's variables where it may not be quite as good if you're getting genetics that aren't as good, or you're newer to things and you're missing some key elements. But oftentimes people are able to do very well, even on their first grow, with some good genetics and following some basic guidance like you would here on CLtv. A big difference that you'll see in a commercial setting versus a home grow setting is you're not able to usually grow plants as long. So if you have a 12 to 13 week cultivar, it may not be as financially lucrative to keep that around in your commercial grow because you're going to have less harvest per year. And honestly, you're not going to be moving those pounds for any more money unless it's something that's just crazy unique and highly sought after. So when you look on a home grow setting, you're able to grow these genetics a lot longer, hence seeing more GMOs in the gray market, we'll say, in genetics that traditionally would be known as a sativa. Now in this case, you're able to grow things that you like, harvest when you want, and be able to cure and dry as long as you'd like to. It's a lot harder to have that in a commercial setting because there's a business in place and they have to be able to have their SOPs dialed in and make sure that they're having so many harvests per year and having so many pounds moved per month. You can't fault them for business. This is just what it is. And then you look at variables like trimming. Oftentimes in commercial settings, you'll see people using automatic trim machines, and this tends to mangle buds and really just damage those trichomes. It's not going to be as good of results, but it does work. Whereas home growers, we can hand trim, we can use a bowl trimmer, we can go slow with it and take our time. Shit, we can even hippie trim and just use some gloves and knock it off. And that's really the beauty of it. The flexibility and creativity is endless. Another reason why it's better to grow at home versus having stuff that's store-bought is you know exactly what's in it. If you're somebody who shops organic or somebody who likes to know exactly what's in your food, well, you oftentimes are not going to know what you're smoking. It's going to be the strain name, CBD, THC, when it was harvested, and that's about it. When you're a home grower, you know exactly what you put into it. And you're able to figure out exactly what you like and what you don't like. Whether this be organic, synthetics, organic, however you want to grow, whatever your approach is, it's completely up to you. Where when you're going to the store, you kind of got to just get what you get and not throw a fit. While there is a variety of options and you could pick through a whole bunch of different genetics, oftentimes you're going to be limited to how they're grown and to even the terpenes and flavonoids and some of these cannabinoids that are overlooked by the commercial space. Now, quantity isn't always a huge factor for growers, but a lot of times it just comes with The space.
Pun intended.
On average, people are getting anywhere from a pound to 10 pounds per year, depending on your setup. Now, if you're looking at that in a commercial grow, or you're looking at that to go for a store, you're gonna be spending anywhere from $2,000 to $10,000 a year. And this again depends where you live. But primarily, it's gonna be an expense that outweighs what you're gonna be having for the home grow cost. If you're someone like myself who goes through about an ounce a week, we're gonna be looking at anywhere from 2 to 3 pounds a year if I was going to the store, and that's gonna just crush me.
I am never gonna financially recover from this.
Now, just doing the math, in a single cycle within a 5-month period, maybe 6 months, you're going to be able to get onwards up to a pound. And obviously this depends on a variety of variables, but it is very, very common for about that much in that short period of time. And again, if you're not a consumer like myself, that's going to be significantly more than what you'd be getting from a store per year.
I think that's where a lot of people overlook the fact of long-term investment. As a home grower, it does take more time, and there is more work and there is more effort. And I've had people say, nah, not for me. I don't want to grow. And I totally understand that if you're a consumer, but just give it a shot, give it a try. And you might see that you have enough from one grow for the entire year. And that's going to beat going to the dispo and getting some BS on a regular basis. I'd rather have some dank at home.
Now, the last thing on my list I feel is something a lot of people overlook when it comes to this, and that is having skills and a hobby. That's another reason why growing at home is more beneficial. You're going to be able to learn botany in general. You'll learn more about growing plants, and these are things that can help you if shit ever hits the fan, and you're going to be able to be sustainable, not just in your smoke, but in your food as well. Starting to understand plant biology, plant health, soil biology, and the life of your plant will really help you in life in general. It helps you develop patience, hope, grit, determination, all these different things that something like martial arts could bring into your life. And that's really where the hobby side of things comes into play. Finding a hobby and something to do in your life besides just going to work every day and coming home is amazing. And for some of us, honestly, growing is all we do. I think that's the beautiful part about this, is you can find something that's enjoyable and also rewarding. Financially, emotionally, spiritually, however you want to look at it. It's really just a place where you can be present. You don't have to focus on the future or the past. You could just focus on your plants in your garden. And sometimes it can be a lot of work, but if you set things up proper and do them like you need for your particular setup, it can be really easy. Of course, the cost being cheaper and cheaper for a lot of people makes sense for them to not have to really worry so much about having to grow at home. But if you're in a place where the cost is what it is and the herb is what it is, well, you may want to change things up and do something different. I'm a big proponent on quality and good flavor, and terpenes and flavonoids seem to be the last focus in a lot of the commercial grow settings. It's just about THC, and that's a real letdown. So that's why I will forever be a home grower. I don't think it's going to change, and I don't think I'm ever going to stop. The only reason I would stop is if I lost both my hands and my feet and I couldn't direct anybody to do it for me. Otherwise, I think honestly I'm going to continue to grow until the day I die. It's just what I do.
It's my stash and I need it now.
It's my stash and I need it now.
It's my stash, and I need it now.
It's your stash. Use it when you need it.
Stash.